Hi guys and welcome to another video from Alpha's Own Secrets. This is Shiraz, the Wolf of Scotland here, and we're just going to dive right into this video today guys. This video is my favourite picks for Alpha action movies and in the last decade or the last 2 decades. I can't actually remember how far these movies but they're in the last 2 decades. I think they're in the last 2 decades. Some of them may be the last decade. But the reason I'm going back that far, guys, is I'll explain this in another coaching video, is because the movies nowadays, guys, uh, even when you watch the action movies, like the action stars of nowadays and the scripts are right, there's a lot of woke mentality in that, guys. There's a lot of woke mentality in that, and it's not like the old school movies you used to get. The old school movies that I was brought up with were just kind of like plain right brute action hero, vest, cigar, kills a bad guy, rescues the dame. So this is kind of what I mean about the movies nowadays. They've got to be correct in what they are portraying on screen, apparently. So the guy can't swing a line like the Connery days. Connery wouldn't get away with saying half the lines he did in James Bond. It would never happen on screen now. So let's just crack into this. My first on the list of alpha action movies, alpha movies in general, has to be Commando. Boom, I love that movie. Guys, why Commando? Schwarzenegger in this movie, he just from just the kind of start of the storyline, kind of starts off with him in his house, and you see his lifestyle, and you see him with a daughter, and he's retired from the army. And guys, this guy's built a tank, man. What a physique! What a physique! Right, he's built a tank, shorts, log cabin house with a daughter, living a quiet life, and then I don't know if you've seen the movie, but his daughter gets kidnapped, and then he goes on a rampage, guys, and it's not the most thought out dialogue, but guys, you don't really care about that because he's going on this mission to kind of rescue his daughter from the bad guys. Is on a timeline. He needs to make sure they don't know. He's not gone through with the blackmail plans, and then he just goes on this kind of mission to get her back and just takes out everybody in his way. And some of the one-liners are great in this movie. I think there's one kind of line where he kind of snaps a guy's neck in the plane. The guy that's been told to go with him to watch him, that he goes to go and commit this assassination. He's been forced to blackmail to commit this assassination. He goes in this plane and the guy's watching him, and then he kind of cracks his neck, puts a pillow under him, and then he says something like, he says to the hostess, excuse me, hostess, don't disturb my friend. He's dead tired. And a classic Arnold style. So, and then he just kind of goes through the whole movie, getting the bad guys, just taking them out, but like a tank, like obviously uh, guns, one-liners, um, the dame at his side, just a kind of the basic kind of action, kind of dialogue and kind of continuity to a movie you would get in those days. But guys, pure fun. It's pure fun and it's pure alpha. It's just pure alpha. There's no kind of ideologically woke agenda to, oh well, don't use uh, the women to portray such a weak character and anything like that. It's just fun, guys. It was just fun, and he's obviously rescuing the dame and gets his daughter back and takes out bad guys. So that's first on my list is Commando with Arnold Schwarzenegger. If you've not seen this movie, you need to get this movie right, and you need to watch it. It's fantastic. It's really good fun, guys. It's really, really good fun. Don't waste your time watching some of these action movies they're releasing now, guys, because there's just too much. There's too much leftist stuff in it, guys. It's not. It's watered down. It's watered down in a leftist way. So they are feeding you a narrative in these kind of action movies. So, and being an actor, trust me, I know what goes on in these scripts. I know where it's going, and they'll watch what they put in it nowadays. Whereas back in the day, they didn't care. You know, it just probably wouldn't have got away with some of the one-liners they say now. You know, and especially in the James Bond Connery days. But so that's number one is Commando, cracking movie. Number two on my list has to be Predator. Predator is another fantastic movie, guys. Action movie. A bunch of kind of private hired kind of like a private team of kind of rescue ops, and again it's Mr. Arnold Schwarzenegger, and this was the kind of the peak of his movies. I think this movie was done in the 80s. I think this movie was done in the 80s or late 80s. It's set in a jungle, obviously. I mean, you're going to know about the Predator films, guys. They've done a kind of new versions of it, but they just can't catch the essence of the original Schwarzenegger movie. So Predator is number two on my list, and it's all the five guys. I mean, some of them get taken out. They gradually all get taken out, but guys, this is just so alpha. This is so alpha. They're in the jungle, guns, and there's one scene where the alien kills one of the friends, and the guy just goes mental, and then he's like just shooting everything in the jungle bushes, and then they all join, and you see the whole lot of them are, and you just see all these guys like this, and Arnold's muscles are popping out. It's a fantastic movie, but it's a really good storyline as well, and the alien is creepy as hell in it, guys. The alien is really creepy as hell. It's very atmospheric as well, is what I love about this movie. It didn't just have the alpha action. It's a right guys movie. Guys, you're gonna love it. It's a right guys movie. I mean, most of you are gonna have seen Predator. Maybe if you're the younger generation, you've not seen the original Predator. It's on Netflix. I think it's on Now TV. Watch it. They did a sequel. It wasn't as good, you know. But this is a cracking alpha male movie. Just downright action, sci-fi, in a jungle. Brilliant. You know, there's another, again, there's the dame in it, and the dame, they kind of tags along, and you know, not as many one liners in it, like, or Schwarzenegger's famous. No, actually Schwarzenegger says a cracking one liner in it. I don't know if I should spoil it for you. Should I spoil it for you in case you've not seen it? No, I won't spoil it for you. But he's making reference to the ugliness of the alien. And it's great. It's great, you know. It's a great overall action movie, you know. And it's kind of like they get hunted. You know, they're out to kind of rescue this group of prisoners in this camp, and then they get hunted one by one. So it's great. I can't call it sci-fi horror as well in action. So, but that's another cracking alpha male movie. One that so the third on my list is a movie with Dolph Lundgren, and he basically plays a Russian agent that goes into this. I think it's a South African camp or an African camp, and he has to kind of infiltrate this camp and take out the leader. It's called Scorpion. Red Scorpion, and basically this is another alpha movie, guys. There's not much to the lines, the plots, but it's just, again, Dolph Lundgren built like a tank, you know, teams up with a journalist, like a film journalist. This guy's funny as hell in it, and takes out, you know, he ends up becoming friends with the people he's supposed to assassinate. And ends up befriending them rather than killing them. Then he ends up defending them at the end of it, and he basically kind of teams up with them, and they all kind of fight, and they beat the bad guys. You know, there's car chases. It's him, and there's a really great scene in the bar where he's drunk, drinking the vodka, and he's like huge at that time, tall, young, you know, and the guy, he's pissed off, and the guys are trying to attack him, and he's just drinking. Right, takes them all out in the bar, and the Russian soldier comes and goes, "You're a disgrace," and takes him to the jail. And then obviously the rest of the story plays out. But it's a brilliant action movie, guys. Just don't need to think much about it. Watch it. Alpha action movie. Dolph Lundgren at his alpha best. You know, you don't get movies like this, guys. You know, and that's why I'm kind of putting on my list kind of older action movies. Older action because it's difficult for me to say a recent action movie that I've saw that doesn't have kind of a leftist agenda and a leftist woke agenda. So that's on one of my lists. The fourth is it's got to be. They were all good. All the trilogy were good, right? But I just think for sheer action, one of my favourites, Rambo 3, again Stallone, ripped, built like a tank, and he's just he's quiet now, living in his camp, doesn't want any trouble, working for the monks, doing cracking stick fighting scene at the start, fighting with sticks, earning money for the monks, humble, and then he has to go and rescue the colonel that's been trapped. You know, he's been trapped in a Russian camp by a bad Russian leader in Afghanistan. So he's got to go in there. He doesn't want to do it, and he finds out his old colonel, his old mentor, and he's got to go in. He's got to go to Afghanistan, and he meets the Afghanis, and at that time, the Russians were the big enemies, you know, against the Americans, and there's a really good scene with the Mujahideen, and you wouldn't get that nowadays. You know, the scripts, the storyline probably would never get written in Hollywood today because there's too much ideology of which country wasn't, which countries are probably now seen as enemies back then weren't. So, but this movie is great. He goes in, you know, obviously doesn't get the colonel out the first attempt, and then goes back into the Russian camp. Top off, scars, machine gun, gets the colonel out, and basically takes out all the baddies. And it's just him and the colonel in the desert. Teams up with the Mujahideen fighters as well, and just wall to wall action, guys. Wall to wall action, and you know, just Stallone at his best. I think this was his best Rambo movie, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, guys. The modern day Rambo movies he's made were good, but and a lot of action and violence. But I think that's his best, and that's why it's on one of my main lists as one of the top alpha action movies that you can watch, and action movies in general, guys. You know, it's one of the best that you can watch just for sheer entertainment. As I say, guys, you've got to watch kind of the movies you watch nowadays. It's throwing a narrative at you. Okay, so get these old ones on Netflix, and if you feel like a movie, start watching them. So my next on the list has to be, yes, Die Hard with John McClane, Bruce Willis. Fantastic movie, guys. Fantastic movie. I mean, this is him. Copper goes to visit his wife at Christmas and gets tangled in. He gets involved in fighting terrorists. Obviously, terrorists take over the building that his wife works at, and it's Christmas time, and then he has to kind of stop these terrorists, and he's not even on duty. Fantastic. Bruce McClane, John McClane's the name of the character, but Bruce Willis is his most outstanding role, the role that kind of made him famous, and totally alpha movie, brilliant. You know, him running about with his gun, his vest, the one-liners, the cigarette. I can't. You know, like just taking out the baddies and kind of does all this mad shit going through elevators. Fantastic wall-to-wall action alpha movie, guys. That's another one on my list that you've got to watch. He made a couple of sequels, and don't get me wrong, the sequels down the line were really good. I like the sequels. Got a bit boring further on, but even Die Hard 3 is another fantastic one on my list, but we can go into that next time. Die Hard 2 was again a fantastic movie, but like I would actually have to say the trilogy of Die Hard movies, original trilogies, are absolutely fantastic, guys. Alpha movies, get a trilogy on. If you want Alpha movies trilogy, get these trilogies on. Even the Die Hard trilogies, watch them. They're kind of like cracking movies. You know, so these are some of my recommendations of kind of alpha action movies that you can watch, guys. As I say, very difficult to get filtered down, non-filtered down, watered, pushing agenda narrative action movies nowadays. Even in action movies nowadays, they've got to slightly push back on the narrative, you know. That's why you get a lot of action movies now. Captain Marvel or Wonder Woman. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that, but that's where you're getting all these kind of promoting the leftist agenda, you know. So you don't, and a lot of these kind of, you don't get that typical action male anymore. I mean, the males are always shown to be bumbly anymore, even if they're kind of like the handsome rogue type guy is shown to be bumbly and goofy now. He's not shown to be like the Han Solos of the day, classic Star Wars Han Solo. I mean, even with the new trilogies, they tried to repeat it, and it just didn't work because the guys were made out to be goofy, incompetent, bumbling. They couldn't get the job done, and the woman just kind of looks at them like, you know, that kind of thing. So, so these are kind of some of the ones on my action movie list, guys. That's got proper kind of a proper alpha movie action for you, and they're not kind of watered down. They don't have kind of like any kind of set agenda to push an agenda across, you know, and that's why I've stuck with these movies, because they're kind of older movies. So if you get a bit of time, this is what you will kind of want to watch, and you want to avoid a lot of the kind of stuff they're releasing now. Certainly, I can't remember the last time I actually paid for a movie in cinema. May have been even the Wolverine movie, that when he went to Japan because he just liked that Wolverine character. So with that, guys, I'm going to close up this Alpha Zone Secrets video, and I hope you enjoyed my recommendations for some alpha action movies. Please hit the subscribe button at the top, like the video if you like the video. Please feel free to post your comments at the below, down at the bottom, and tell me what you thought of my recommendations of these movies. I'll be happy to hear your comments and any further kind of videos you want me to post in the future, any topics you'd like me to discuss. Please put it down in the comments below, and I will certainly try and get these videos out to you. Till next time, guys, I'm just going to sign off here. This is Shiraz at the Alpha Zone Secrets of Wilfa, Scotland. Till next time, have a good day.